Hello and welcome to the Punters preview for Monday's Adelaide Cup at Morphetville. I'm Mark Jones, and joining me for this is Alex Donnelly.
Yeah, I'm in the Lammy seat. I don't know how to feel. I've been bumped from the hosting chair into doing the form, and I love a cup. It's 3,200 at least, so that's a good start. Perth, get your cup back to 3,200 because I figured it out this morning. You could run in the Perth Cup, rather run in the Australia Day Cup in Sydney or the Lord Reams here in Melbourne, in Adelaide, or a race in Melbourne, and then go to the Adelaide Cup, Sydney Cup. You could do 3 cups in 4 months.
Now, we're recording Friday morning just after the barrier draw. Alex, you've had a look at the speed. What do you see in the speed map?
Yeah, the barrier draw literally ended about 5 minutes ago. Shout out to Tyler for sending through the photos. Wouldn't have known there was a barrier draw on for a Friday. I think Kirkton Blue and Comanche have to go forward, as well as Highland Bling and Newfoundland. Obviously, Newfoundland ran in this race last year, but he's come up with barrier 15 for Tim Clark. Gay Waterhouse, blinkers back on. He's going to roll forward here. Eventually, he's drawn 14. Not sure what it does there. Berkeley Square is just going to be put straight to sleep from barrier 1 there. Samuel Longhorn's going to go all the way back to last from barrier 18. And even a horse like Hurry Curry who's drawn well in barrier 4 for Jamie Mellum. It'll probably sit in the first half, but will just be absolutely put to sleep by Jamie. So a couple of the favoured runners have drawn well, and there's a few that, oh boy, they'd be wishing this was the random button not to go pick up the little trophy.
All right, well, let's get straight into it. We've got the top weight and the highest rated horse in the field, Berkeley Square. Coming off a last start win at Flemington, how do you see that playing out?
Yeah, look, he does drop 2 kilos for his last start, but carries 59.5 kilos, and only 2 horses are actually in the handicap here. What I don't like is synthetical filler first time. I absolutely despise that. Anytime that sort of pops up, it means there's a little bit of an issue with the feet, and I know trainers are like, oh, it's nothing, it's a little bit of padding here and there. Find me the record of horses that have won with synthetical filler. It wouldn't be good. But look, as said, carried 61.5 last start. He smashed him. It's his first time over 3,200. He's by territories, so it feels like a massive risk with 59.5. But he was, when winning, strongest through the line. I need to risk him a little bit, given no horse has won the Adelaide Cup with 58.5 or more since 1923. But as said, barrier 1 helps because he does no work. So that gives him his best chance. If you like him, I can't talk you out of him.
Definitely looks to be the class in the field. Number 2 is the Waterhouse Bot Train runner Newfoundland with Tim Clark taking the ride.
Yeah, blinkers roll forward. TC won a couple of Group 1s in Adelaide, so he knows his way around. Rolls forward from barrier 15, blinkers again. Goes up 1 kilo after running second in this race last year. So he'll run out the trip. He's by deep impact. He'll absolutely run out the trip. He's the best bred horse probably in Australia by deep impact out of a Galileo mare. Like, holy moly. Won a 2,400 metre jump out, 1,400 metre jump out recently. 3 wins have been over 2,400 and 2,600. Barrier 15, I'm not too concerned. He's going to roll forward. We saw that he did that last year when Jamie Mellum rode. He'll just keep rolling and just depending on how he's come through that last start run at Warwick Farm.
Number 3 is eventually comes through the Lord Reams, which is one of the main lead-in races for this one. How do you see eventually going this week?
Yeah, look, it's on 53 kilos with the rest of the field, so we're not going to talk about weights for the rest of the field because, well, they're all on 53, the minimum here. Look, was a surprise winner to the market last start at 2,600 metres at huge odds, but was really strong through the line. And you go sectionally through this horse's form recently. She has run the best last 200 metres of the race in her last 5 starts. Even when she ran last 2 back, she was strongest through the line sectionally. She seems big odds here. I know barrier 15 probably hasn't helped it, but she's gone up $23. She's going to run out the trip for sure the way she ran through the line last start. I know being by helmet out of a dash for Cashmere says you are absolutely not a stayer. But wins over 2,500, 2,400, then was poor in the Premier's Plate, but as said, was strong late when sitting back last and won really well last start. The barrier is the little bit of a concern for me, though, in barrier 14. What are they going to do from there? If they drew sort of 3 to 7, I'd be really keen. But barrier 14, well, we may get 30 to 1 on Monday.
Okay. Number 4 is the 8-year-old Comanche.
Yeah, draws barrier 5. And you talk about the lifestyle of a horse. He ran second to Bay Eid at his second start. Of course, Bay Eid a champion over in the UK. He looks your leader. He'll roll forward. 2,600 metres was a step too far last start. He was weak late. How's he going to run 3,200 metres? He's been a winner up to 2,000. He's had a run over 2050, got rolled. 2,600 got rolled. Not for me.
Okay. Number 5, Crimson Vine, which also came through that Lord Reams race.
Yeah, we're going to talk about, 3 main lead-up races. We got this benchmark race at Sandown and the one at the Provincials in Adelaide. Look, this horse took off before acceptance's last start, really wide into the turn, still loomed up to win, was no match for the winner late, and it hit the line well the start prior. There's another one that should run out the trip here, being by Redwood. The win over at Murray Bridge and the run the Premier's Plate was quite good. So, look, you give it a rough hope at big odds.
Also coming through that race is number 6, Highland Bling with Lockie Neindorf on top.
Yeah, look, he's going to run the trip, no dramas at all. He was favourite pre-barrier draw, but drew barrier 17, which is not ideal for Philip Stokes. He peaked on his run last start at the 100 metres in the reams when hitting the front. Race fastest 6 to the 400, but was 9th fastest last 200. But set to rebound into this. He was beaten a lip over 3,000 in October. He's a winner at Flemington over 25.50. It's Philip Stokes aiming for his hometown cup. He'll run well.
Number 7, Kirkliston Blue.
Yeah, draws well in barrier 9. Strathalbyn Cup winner who's had a really long prep. Ran through the line well in the reams last start, up the inside, which probably wasn't the place to be on the day. 3rd fastest 4 to the 200 and 2nd fastest last 200 in the race. Has to be included in your exotics after drawing well.
Number 8, Dictionary for Theo Nugent and John Maloney.
Through the same race as Berkeley Square last start, yet meets him worse off at the weights, funnily enough, for a length and a half defeat. Look, you've got to have to risk some of these that are sort of around the mark at the moment. He was a good winner over Tarview 3 starts back. He was okay against Stylish Secret. He does draw well, so if you want to throw him in your exotics, I would, but I'm just going to risk him because you need to risk one of them.
Number 9 is Hustle of War. 10-year-old who would probably need to improve a little bit here.
Yeah, that's saying something. Look, last start was a tune-up run for the veteran. It'd be a shock. Drawn well in barrier 11, so if you're throwing, your field, 3rd and 4th, he's one that you want to sort of pop in to really launch into that exotic. But shout out to Stacey Metcalf from Wagga. Rode my horse one day. It was the slowest horse I reckon she's ever ridden.
Nice little self-insertion there.
Yeah, exactly. I was slow, so I'm not giving it any pump up. It had one start, was slow. 2nd start, slower. Got rid of it. 3rd start, got beaten 50, and we never saw it again.
Okay. All right. Hari Curry's number 10 for Jamie Mellon. Yep. One of 5 rides that she has on the day on Monday.
Yeah, look, we know that Jamie Mellon loves to go back to Adelaide and try and pick up some Group 1s. Obviously, the Adelaide Cup, the absolute dream for her. It was a midweek winner at Sandown last start. It's one of the lead-up races we're talking to. The market's with her early on. There was early market support before the barrier draw. 8th run for the campaign. Had a long ride run when winning last start at Sandown. Built through the line well and stayed basically the exact same speed through the line for the last 600. By Ocean Park, out of a Savabeel mare. Should absolutely run out the trip. Is just a classically bred Waikato stud mare.
Number 11, Samuel Longhorn, who started this prep with a 4th at Caulfield and then went over to SA for the Lord Reams as well and came 6th. So we can tie in a little bit of form here.
How good's Mick Kent? It's 3rd up over 3,200 metres. Had 180 odd days off before running 1st up over 2,400 metres. Good through the line in the Reams, and Mick Kent's just a master. These stays. He's by shocking. He's obviously a Melbourne Cup winner. He'll run the trip, no problem. You've got to throw him in your exotics, even though he has drawn barrier 18. As I said, the first 2 runs back have been good. Amazingly, 1st up over 2,400 metres, his last 200 metres was the 9th fastest of the entire meeting. So to do that over 2,400 metres shows he's got a little bit of zip, which a turn of foot is needed in these races as well as being able to run out the trip. So barrier 18 stings, but you're probably going to get value for your money if you're on him.
Yep. Number 12 is the John Simons and Sheila Laxon trained Urban Outlook.
Yeah, Jamie Mellon jumps off this one for Hari Curry, but Ash Morgan jumps aboard. He's a good jockey. He was a winner over 3,000 metres, 3 back at Sandown, was strong. Didn't have the clearest of runs last start in that 2,400 metre race at Sandown, and does meet Hari Curry 3 kilos better off. Barrier 16, not ideal.
Number 13 is American Wolf. Chet Stanley rides for Trent Buston and Natalie Young.
Another one that comes through that race at Sandown is a St. Ledger winner in April of last year. Has been building towards this all prep. You can tell by the preparations had 1,600, 2,000, 2,400, 2,400, 2,600, 2,400. He can sit on speed from barrier 8 as well, and he was the strongest late of the few horses that have come through that Sandown race. So he's one that he's going in the wider exotic play for sure.
Number 14 is Sentimental Flame, one of the roughies in the field currently.
Yeah, look, positive. He dropped 6 kilos off his last start. The negative is they went about 25 lengths slower than standard to the 600, and he was the leader of that race and got run past, so no.
Okay. Number 15 is Alange, the last start winner in a benchmark 66 at Balaclava.
He was the winner of that race. Again, no.
We'll move on. Number 16 is Zibulon. Patrick Maloney rides for Paul Prushko in this one.
Yeah, look, he comes out of that Hari Curry race, and that was his first time beyond 2,400. And I said in my little write-up I did before the barrier draw here, he probably beats Hari Curry home, but the barrier draw swung that a little bit. So if you like him, you've probably got to go with Hari Curry as well, because they just come exactly through that same line. So he'll run well. He's drawn perfectly as well to do no work as well. There's a few horses here that are just going to plonk either on the fence or one off, sort of 6th, 7th, 8th, and they're just going to be in a great spot.
Number 17, Sabre Athena with Kate Walters aboard for Mark Gregg, currently the main outsider in the field.
Look, for a positive, it's a winner over 3,400 metres and is placed over 4,000 metres. To the negatives, it was beaten 10 lengths in a 56 at Terang, and then it was beaten 15 in a benchmark 70 at Ararat. it would be a bigger shock than Robbie Dolan and Sheila Laxon winning on that horse's name, who I've forgotten in the Melbourne Cup last year. I've put it out of my mind because I was on warp speed.
Nice choice.
Nice choice. Oh, boy.
That's the one. And rounding out the field of 18 is Chance Taken with Dylan Kibosh in the saddle.
Comes out of the same 66 at Balaclava. Hasn't got closer than 3 lengths to the winner this prep, and that was over a mile in a benchmark 66. You can go without me.
All right, so that's the 18 runners for the 3,200 metre Group 2 on Monday at Morphetville. We're going to give you a theoretical $100 for a $100 play here.
Yep.
Alex, how are you going to use it?
Yeah, look, this was done pre-barrier draw, and I've changed a couple of numbers around in the exotic. So I'm going to have $30 to win on Newfoundland number 2 for Tim Clark and Gail Waterhouse. I'm going to have 15 each way on Eventually. I can't believe it's still 20, 30 to 1 at the moment. Like, sectionally speaking, and the way that it's prepped up, it's absolutely going to run out the trip. No dramas at all. So you really have to have that in your thinking as well. And then we're going to have a $40 boxed first 4 with 6 horses in it. And I've just taken one out, so I need to add another one in there. So we are going with 235, which is Newfoundland, Eventually, Crimson Vine. I just thought it'll run out the trip really well. And then we go to 10, 11, and 13, which is Hurry Curry, Samuel Longhorn, and American Wolf. $40 there on that will get you about 11 and a bit percent. Yes, we are leaving out the 2 favourites in the race just for trip reasons and synthetical filler for Berkeley Square and Highland Bling because of the barrier.
Okay, so hopefully we've found something for you for Monday. Of course, this is a bit of a precursor to the SA Racing Carnival, which kicks off in late April. Some of the big races include the Sangster and the Australasian Oaks.
Yeah, and then you've also got the Goodwood as well, which, you know, every year it does produce a good horse. You have a look through the history of the Australasian Oaks as well. Some good fillies have come through that, through on, like Delicacy was probably the best winner of that in recent times. But there's always a good winner that rolls through the Adelaide Carnival that'll pop up either in Sydney or in Melbourne later in the spring.
And we'll be previewing more of that as it gets closer. But thank you very much for joining us for today's Punters Preview. If you're in Adelaide, make sure you get out to Morphetville on Monday for the Adelaide Cup Day. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you again next time on Punters Preview.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.